The man merely raised his rifle and aimed at an antelope, but when he pulled the trigger, he accidentally hit the antelope's hindquarters, watching the antelope flee in the opposite direction. The man didn't rush to fire a second shot. As a veteran, he knew full well the antelope was wounded and couldn't run far. He then picked up the spent shell casing and calmly pursued the antelope from behind. But as he sensed the location of the antelope's wound, he suddenly noticed a large pool of blood on the ground. This instantly alerted him to something amiss. Following the trail of blood, he unexpectedly discovered a wounded hunting dog nearby. Yet he hadn't fired at this dog. Realizing a gunfight must have erupted nearby, the hunter then began tracking in the opposite direction. Sure enough, he found several vehicles parked there. To figure out what had happened, the hunter cautiously approached to investigate. To his shock, he discovered that everyone on the ground was dead. Clearly, a fierce shootout had just taken place here. Spotting a dying man still seated in one of the vehicles, the hunter swiftly raised his rifle, but the man pointed his own weapon at him, begging for water. The hunter carried no water himself, so he took the man's weapon and left. He then went to inspect the back of a truck and unexpectedly discovered a full cargo of goods. Since the goods remained inside, someone must have taken the money and fled, likely severely wounded. But in this heat, where could they have gone? The hunter surmised they'd sought shade. Soon he spotted a figure beneath a large tree, but the hunter didn't rush forward to investigate. Instead, he remained quietly crouched in place for half an hour. Only after confirming the figure showed no movement whatsoever did he dare to slowly approach and check. Sure enough, the person had ceased breathing. Spotting a black suitcase beside the body, the hunter curiously opened it to investigate. Inside, he discovered $2 million. Though he realized this money could bring disaster, who would refuse cash that fell into their lap? Without a second thought, he grabbed the suitcase and headed home. But when night fell and he lay down to sleep, the hunter felt an uneasy restlessness. So he deliberately filled a jug with tap water and slipped back to the daytime scene under cover of darkness to offer the man in the car some water. But when he opened the door, he discovered the guy had been killed. Instantly sensing something was terribly wrong, he scanned his surroundings frantically. The next moment, he spotted several men appearing beside his own vehicle. Clearly, he'd been exposed. Watching the group drive toward him, the hunter immediately fled in the opposite direction. Soon the hunter was shot in the shoulder by their guns. But at that moment, he couldn't afford to think about it. He plunged headfirst into a small river. Unexpectedly, they unleashed a vicious dog. Watching the dog closing in on him, the hunter instantly came up with a good idea. He scrambled onto a shallow bank and blew the excess water out of his pistol, and fired a shot the instant the dog charged, killing it. The hunter realized his license plate could expose him. To protect his family, he immediately sent his wife back to her parents' home and checked into a hotel with a box of cash. To uncover the enemy's true intentions, he deliberately hid the box in the room's ventilation duct and silently restored the vent. He deliberately checked into the adjacent room 138. Little did he know this decision would save his life. Killer Anton had already identified him and, using the tracker planted in the box, quickly zeroed in on room 138. To avoid alerting his target, he removed his shoes and crept toward the room. Without hesitation, he blasted the door lock with his jet gun and fired two